Before we start this interesting topic about Vedic counseling, how many of you believe in astrology? Raise your hands. Más o menos, some of you, okay? Not there yet. We'll talk a little bit more about it and we will discuss in the light of counseling. It's very important that we talk about this topic in the light of wholeness. That's very important. And I always like to start my talk on every topic with the thread of wholeness. You look at yoga, Ayurveda, Jyotish, Vastu, Sthapatya Veda, Gandharva Veda, every branch of Vedic literature that you talk about, it may sound very distinct and objective in its own way, but they all carry the thread of wholeness. It's like a garland of different flowers, and the thread of consciousness is woven through all of them together. So before we get into nitty-gritty details, let's remind ourselves that consciousness is primary, and that is the basis of everything that we experience in this world itself. And when we talk to people or understand their astrological chart and counsel them, especially a doctor, it's very important to know the person really, really well. Hippocrates, who was the father of medicine, once said, "A doctor who is not an astrologer is a fool." We need to understand the time, the divisions of the time, and the total understanding of that human being. We also understand there is an unforeseen hand of karma in everything that we do, whether you like it or not. Is that right? How many of you planned this and made it happen here? How many people wanted to come, they couldn't make it here? How many of you made to this journey thinking that this is where they end up in having? Swamiji, you were born in America. When you were born, your parents never thought that this kid will be lighting up the world with his knowledge and radiance and would be a renunciate monk. Gautam Buddha, when he was born, nobody knew. His parents had a dream that this is what this kid is going to do. That's why they kept him in a fool's paradise for a very, very long time, so that he doesn't see death, old age, sickness, poverty, so that he doesn't feel the eternal quest. But at some point he had to leave and made it happen. Every one of us, we thought that we have made the decisions to come here, but someone is taking us from point A to point B. Daivam Chaivatra Panchamam. Is that right? That's the fifth unforeseen hand of the destiny. A baby is born with a hole in the heart. What mistakes of intellect the baby has done to be born with a hole in their heart? Is that right? You are in the right place at the wrong time with rear-ended, having a whiplash, or even a greater problem for several months, maybe a greater part of your life. So astrology is understanding the synchronization of the timing of the events. That's one part of it. But we like to see also understanding some of the karmic repercussions, what is coming. So Prashna Mark Deepika said that just as the lamp illumines the objects in the darkness, astrology reveals our karma to a certain extent. And nobody wants to understand whether this is good or bad, but this is what is happening. And I like to use this in medicine because the medicine is changing, guys. Okay? Look at this, the trend now. The trend is from starting about stress, about mind-body medicine 10, 15 years ago, all the way to the clinical application of spirituality in medicine. Especially Vedantic medicine, because the seed of every religion, every philosophy is in Vedic wisdom. And using that and understanding that, blending yoga, Ayurveda, and Vedanta together is nothing but Vedic counseling. And we all are familiar with the first patient, first client who needed a counseling in the middle of the battlefield. Is that right? We remember the patient who was complaining that Sidanti mama gatrani mukham cha parishushati Vepatuscha sharire me shroma harshasya jayate gandivam stromsate hamsat hastatvakchaiva paridayate. The skin is burning, the limbs are getting weak, feeble, shake, tremor, the mouth is dry. This is the panic attack that we talk about, that we often get. Is that right? It's an acute anxiety disorder where all of these symptoms are present: feeling dizzy, pupils are dilated, temperature fluctuation, feeling hot and cold, dry mouth, increased breathing, weakness, churning of the stomach, feeling queasy. Muscles can feel weakness, as they say, the bow and arrow are falling off the hands, increased sweating. This is exactly what Arjuna had in the middle of the battlefield. And who better than the counselor, who is Lord Krishna, as the master counselor, to understand the patient really well and understand that this patient of mine, this client of mine who I really know very well, is suffering from acute transient situational adjustment disorder with symptoms of anxiety or a single acute panic attack, depression with predominant feeling of guilt as the core symptom. Is that right? He was feeling guilt of staining his hands with the blood of his own relatives, gurus, and cousins. Is that right? That's what he was feeling. He was feeling acute sense of anxiety, depression, guilt, even to the degree of suicidal ideation. And in the middle of battlefield, a 60-minute psychotherapy session that Lord Krishna did completely changed his and our life for good. What he did, not only Arjuna was the patient, Lord Krishna is the counselor. The relationship between healer and healer is so important. Why? Because you need to trust the healer. And why would you trust the healer? Because the healer has seen what the patient has gone through. Krishna clearly understands the PTSD that Arjuna went through so many times. Is that right? Whether it is the Agyatvas, Aranyavas, the Dyuta, the gambling that happened, the insult he felt, his wife felt, everything that he has witnessed very closely. So he understands the history of his client really, really well. What he has gone through, what he has suffered, even to change his name, shape, and form and go into a hiding as a third gender personality for 12 years, 14 years. And when you understand this, he has established this Guru-Shishya relationship. And that is missing in a standard healing format. You don't accept your doctors as your friend, philosophers, guides, and mentors. You need to believe in them. You need to believe in each other. Once that relationship is established, that yes, tell me what to do. And then I am your Shishya and I follow everything that you tell me to do. You are talking to your friend who you like to talk to. That's where you need to show up to your doctors. Because, hey, I just need to come and chat with you, share a few things, get some guidance. That's what a good, decent medical consultation can be. And what Krishna did as a master counselor, as a therapist, he came up with every possible thing. You look at all the 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, the cognitive, rational, he gave rewards, motivation, is that right? Hato va prapsase swargam, jitva va mokshase mahim. You'll get the land, you'll become the king, you'll go to heavens, you will do this. Temptations, rewards, scolding, rebuking, understanding, education, knowledge, every form. And this multimodality education of self-empowerment, do your karma, forget about rest. Don't get too attached to your own ego, do this, do that. So many things are explained in that, still with the degree of devotion. If nothing works, gave him the grand vision, Vishva Virat Rupa. That was hypnosis. You don't believe my word? See this. If you can't see this, I'll give you a divine vision to see this. And then you believe me, and once you believe me, then listen to every word I'm telling you. rational, cognitive approach, Sankhya Yoga, Nishkam Karma Yoga, everything, the true nature of reality as a Gyan Vigyan Yoga with everything that Krishna said, infusing the Bhakti Yoga. Sarvameva parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Come to me and I'll guide you, I'll teach you, I'll tell you exactly what is to be done. Help you understand your dharma that you have forgotten, what to do here. And this relationship is a very beautiful, humanistic, client-centered relationship. And if that is the model, why can't we do this in a standard medical consultation? Using all the modes that we have. Ayurveda is a rich science. Yoga is a rich science. But they are not confined in different silos. They should all be fused together as a Vedic healing modality. Because that's the new emerging paradigm. The paradigm is all about wellness. It's all consciousness-based New Age medicine. And understanding health that you need to attain and pursue on the path of enlightenment. And why should you restrict your counseling techniques? They should be life-encompassing, guys. You should have every area of your life that your doctor should know about. Trust, faith, mutual respect. You should be able to talk about your stress, financial situation, relationship, job, addictions, personality challenges, relationship issues, emotional burden, life purposes, time constraints, high pace of life. When I teach this to many doctors and physicians, they ask us that, gosh, this is so much. Should we take out our white coat and put on saffron robes? I said, why not? If you can do that, perfectly fine, because healing would happen here. We don't want to keep them sick over and over again with one thing or another, because when it's about a headache or a migraine or autoimmune condition, it's never about that. It's never about the dysfunctional labs that you're looking at. It is always bugging something else somewhere else. And nobody wants to, when I ask people that, are you happy in your marriage? Are you paying your credit card bills? They look at me, gosh, why in the world would you ask me that? Because understanding that is what is creating this challenge. We call it as allostatic load. Allostatic load is the environmental stresses coupled with major life events, trauma, abuse, your genetic upbringing, your early childhood experience, that is called as ACE score, ACE, Adverse Childhood Experience Score, and the behavioral response. Nobody wants to drink or smoke or eat bad foods. They only do that because they are unhappy. Unhappiness leads them to poor choices and addictions. So it's a perceived stress, helplessness, which gives to physiological responses, and it creates a tremendous allostatic load where every system is crumbling. You can create cancers out of it, you can create autoimmune conditions out of it, you can create so many diseases because of this not being aware of it. I have seen this, applying this template, and Swamiji himself uses chaplaincy and ministry and talking to your students is a great idea, but we can do this where you hold hands, lend your shoulders for them to cry upon, and talk about all of these things. Coupled with a standard Ayurvedic evaluation, cognitive behavioral therapy, neurosculpting, emotional intelligence, helping them understand what is right, what is true, because they are lost at times. Physical examination, pulse diagnosis, Ayurvedic psychotherapy, spiritual counseling, helping them dictate how they talk to themselves. They talk to themselves in a very violent way. Their internal pep talk has to be changed to non-violent communication. Shanti and ahimsa, they are synonyms. They are the same words. Peace and non-violence is just one and the same word. That's it. So cultivating that peace, cognitive behavioral therapy changes. Because ahar shuddhi, achar shuddhi, vichar shuddhi. That's where it boils down to. Is that right? You clean the food, You change the behavior, you change the thought process, and make them focus on something bigger, better, and greater than themselves, and slowly the water starts flowing much more easily. Because we often hear these things, is that right? Watch your thoughts, they become words. Watch your words, they become actions. Watch your action because it becomes your character, and watch your character because ultimately it becomes your destiny. So Mataji was telling us about our thoughts and thinking. Yes, we generate these thoughts. And these thoughts come from what you're watching, what you're seeing, what you're experiencing. Every experience generates a thought. Now, later, or for years together. These thoughts create feelings. Feelings create actions or inactions. Either you want to fight, flight, or freeze. Is that right? You want to run away from it, or you want to resist and fight it out. And that is the main source of Maya, illusion, stress. Resistance to existence is the biggest stressor that we all have. Resistance to existence. You can't stay, you can't fight, you can't run away, you have to deal with it. And that situation leads to the action. You have to choose to do something. Those actions create results, creates karma. Whether you say something good or bad, do something good or bad, it will generate a karma which will create the belief system based upon this is who I am, this is how I do, this is how I think, this is how I act. This creates your ego, this creates your action, this creates your belief system. Sometimes the belief system creates so bigger problem than anything else because you're stuck within your own belief systems. You're paralyzed and trapped within your own belief system. Whether it's my God or your God. Whether it's this way or that way. And that belief system drives further because then you create your own lens through which you are looking at every experience. Are you guys with me? Is it too abstract? Very simple. Because once you create that lens, it is so difficult to change that. And once you are 3, 5, 10, 15, 20 years of age, that lens is hardened and hardened like cataract through which everything that you're seeing becomes so difficult for you. And Ayurveda, even though it's a medical science, it actually talks about Trivid Chikitsa. And what is Trivid Chikitsa? The threefold Ayurvedic treatment plan. Number 1 is Daiva Vipashya Chikitsa. Think about it for a moment. A medical science which talks about health and diseases talks about Daiva as the first model of healing and treatment. Destiny. The unforeseen hand of karma. Why we are stuck with a given situation and how you respond. We are all given a roll of dice of different kind. That we are in the right place at the right time. All the Swamis, the stories that we heard yesterday. You were just in the right place at the right time to someone to pick you up and take you to the point B to make it happen what happened. Or something good or bad happened to us. We feel helpless. We feel as if we have no control. But understanding Daiva, Purva Janma Kritam Papam Vyadhi Rupena Badhyate. Many of the diseases, discomfort, dukkha, comes from that unforeseen situation. Yes, you can delete that, not believe in that, understand that how do I respond to that situation is what is going to happen. And the karma that you generate, you will have to deal with it. That's why you want to keep on doing something which is making a difference in someone else's life. Avashyameva bhoktavyam kritam karma shubha shubham. Something good or bad, it's going to constantly come and haunt you. So keep yourself busy in doing something better with speech, words, action. Those are 4 human needs that we talk about. Is that right? Attention, affection, appreciation, and acceptance. If you want attention, give attention. If you want affection, give affection. If you want appreciation, appreciate others. You want accepted, accept everyone as they are with their flaws and imperfections. And this is Vedanta in application to a greater extent. Because you don't want to deal with this, you want to actually use everything that you're dealing. Good people, do they have to live longer? Not necessarily. They can live a very short but very effective life. There is division of life that we talk about. You can use so many tools, and that's what we are learning here. Mantra, Mani, Aushad, Mangal Karma, Upahar, Homa, pilgrimage, so many things. All the purification techniques through tapas, through swadhyaya, through worship, upavas, everything. These are the first treatment modality that Ayurveda talks about. The second treatment modality is what we know what Ayurveda is or what medicine is, which is Yukti Vyapashraya Chikitsa. And that includes medicine, ahar, aushadha, antaparimarjan, bahiparimarjan, surgery, cleanliness, detoxification, all of these things. Herbs, herbal formulations, all of these things actually fall into this category of Yukti Vyapashraya Chikitsa. Yukti Vyapashrayam Punar Ahar Aushadha Dravyanam Yojana. So you plan things which is suitable for the client. Vata pacifying diet, you take Triphala, you take Trikatu, you do a castor oil cleanse, you drink this herbal tea, Vata balancing tea. Use this oil for the massage, use this oil as an aromatherapy. You can use this as a Yukti Vyapashraya Chikitsa, what we do most of the time. But we fail to do what is even more important, called as Sattva Vajaya Chikitsa. If Sattva is the only guna that the mind has, Raja and Tamas are the doshas of the mind, then the purpose in every medical setting should be enhancing the Sattva of the person. Sattva Vajaya Chikitsa. What can you do? Dhi Dhairya Atmadi Vijnanam Mano Doshaushadham Param. Because the wheel stops here. What do I do with my mind? How do I train my mind so that it is naturally inclined towards bhakti or towards jnana or towards this or towards that? And in order to train, you have to learn the tips and tools to regulate the tendency of the mind. The mind itself has the function of controlling the desires of Indriya. Indriya Nigraha is the function of the mind itself. Mind is itself an Indriya, but Indriya Nigraha is governed and regulated by your own mind. So you want to increase the Manas Shakti. And what is the Manas Shakti? Is Dhi Dhriti Smriti. Dhi is the intellect. With a refined intellect, with viveka, with discrimination, with a stable buddhi, the mind behaves itself, most likely. With a good willpower, with good discipline, with a good structured routine, when you go to a monastery, it's the structure that creates this. When you go to an army, that's where they are preparing you for the war, which is the discipline that is created. Is that right? So that rigor is so important in order for you to have mano nigraha. You're doing everything to correct the mistakes of intellect, where dhi, dhriti and smriti vibrashta, you are minimizing those things. You do need guidance. That's why you are here. And we are listening to some brilliant speakers here. Is that right? Adhyatma. Someone who introduces us to the knowledge and the tools, how to do it. Uplifting words, encouragement. And more importantly, the books, education, talks that you listen to slowly becomes a part of your thinking and changing your belief system slowly and steadily. You increase your moral strength. You create emotional support for your own mind, for yourself. And you start generating what we call it as positive affirmation. Can you make this happen in a standard Vedic counseling session? I would say yes, because that's what we do. We use Ayurveda for their health and wellness. We use yoga for creating an awareness for mindfulness with whatever you're doing, whether you're doing with a degree of mindfulness. Can we challenge them with sensory regulation? Is that right? Stay away from wheat for a month. Don't even look at cheese for the rest of your life. I'm just kidding. Okay. Don't do this. Or start waking up early in the morning. Or start going to bed at 10:30 by evening or something like that. So you're trying to create a mind control. You challenge them for 21 days to correct the distorted behavioral patterns that they have. Lifestyle medicine, everything. What we are trying to do is we are creating banks to that river so that it starts flowing in the same direction. And you can't dump all those things. If a Vata person who comes to me who has a restless, scattered mind, and I tell him 20 things to do, wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, make your herbal tea, drink hot lemon water with honey, do this, do that, make a hot, they will look at me and first thing they're going to do is change their doctor. Because it's not their problem, it's my problem. I fail to understand who this person is and what they can do. If I give that list to a Pitta person, he would love that. Is that right? He would love that list. Oh, one list on the toilet seat, one on the refrigerator door, one in the cubicle in their office. You said no tomato here. You said no to this. Those are the things that you can understand who your client is and do things suitable to them. But when we give them these things, challenge them for do it for 3 days, do it for 5 days, do it for 7 days, do it for 21 days, until it becomes an ingrained habit. Once you give them the higher taste, why would you even go back to the lower taste? So many people I know that they started eating khichdi first time, they felt it's like cardboard tasting. They didn't like it. But they say that something felt good for those 7 days, for those 3 weeks, and it became a real comfort food for them, has become a part of their daily meal now. There are 2 words in Sanskrit that we use. One is called as Shreyas and the other is called as Preyas. Preyas is something which is liked by your senses. It is liked by your senses but may not always be good for you. And Shreyas is something which may not be liked by your senses in the first place, but ultimately it is good for you. So when you tasted kale or arugula first time, you did not like it. But now you started liking it to the degree where you miss your kale, or you miss your yoga practice or meditation practice. The things that are good for you, you start liking it. When Shreyas becomes Preyas, that is half of the enlightenment. And creating those choices of starting liking those things that are good for you is half of the game. And that's why these sessions are so important. So you use Ayurveda, you use Jyotish, astrology. And I personally don't believe in astrology and Jyotish, because I believe in the mathematics of it. I believe in the astronomy of it. The calculation, the movement, the precision, what they calculated at that time is absolutely precise even today with NASA calculations. So that is completely the Ganit, the mathematic part of astronomy is perfectly right. Astrology is a man-made thing, is that right? We attributed the qualities to the planets. That Jupiter is the planet for knowledge, for abundance. Saturn is the planet for the slowest moving planet. Let's attribute that to obstructions, slowness, difficulties, challenges. Rahu, Ketu creates eclipses and hide the luminaries of sun and moon. So we'll create them as a shadowy planet and they'll create inner conflicts. Mars is the planet for energy, dynamism. These are all qualities that we have attributed to these planets. Is that right? So I use astrology and Jyotish as a way to create an understanding of transpersonal psychology. Is that right? Transpersonal psychology is understanding the placement of these planets and guiding people based upon the placement of those things. And you understand that, you slowly sync your actions with what is going on. And Jyotish is very important. You look at someone's sun sign, moon sign, nakshatra, constellation, because that is very precise. That is your own. A person born at a given date, place, and time of birth at this time to these parents in this place, it's only you. That chart only belongs to you. That becomes your blueprint itself. And then you add maybe Vastu, maybe Vedanta. Every science that comes out of Vedic origin has been woven from the thread of consciousness itself. And you use these sessions as Shuddha Chikitsa, as someone that you are guiding them from the purity of your heart. You are encouraging them sharir shuddhi. You are telling them detoxification, purification, cleanliness, clean foods, day-to-day getting rid of ama, giving them tools for their manas shuddhi, vacha shuddhi, how to write, maybe self-reflective journaling, reading certain books, listening to some experts. Whatever it is, you are trying to improve their desire, their state of their mind. And then put them onto the path towards moksha, towards enlightenment. Every medical doctor, every medical session, every Jyotish session should be uplifting them and putting them on the spiritual path. It should never be that you leave the doctor's office feeling that you're completely hopeless and you have no hope or nothing to do because your parents gave you birth at the wrong time and all the planets are messed up in your chart. And that's not the purpose of it. And without this precious gemstone, your life would suck for the rest of your life. You had to go and do this $10,000 yagya or buy this very precious gemstone and this many carat. Without that, everything is good. These are all illusion. If you use Jyotish to increase the Maya which is already there, then you are using this impurely. You have to be a clear, pure soul yourself to use the tool properly. Is that right? We often say that Shastra, Shastra, Salilam, water, weapon, and even knowledge. Who is holding it decides the quality of that. So Jyotish should always be uplifting people, because most of the people who come to us who are sick are mentally exhausted, tired, stuck with the challenges of their life, and they don't know how to get. And you are inciting even more fear in them. It's not the purpose of this. So we use Jyotish to improve their tools. We use everything. We look at their chart. We look at their body type, disease tendencies, weak organs, system, immunity, vitality. You can really understand whether the person is naturally sattvic, rajasic, or tamasic. We understand the tendency of their diseases, whether you are more likely to have pitta kind of disease, inflammatory diseases, or degenerative conditions. Environments that affect your health, you can easily tell them. Whether it is coming from your childhood issues, whether they are coming from your financial situation or relationship. You can do even relationship compatibility, and that's how most of the marriages are done back in India still. Is that right? I'm not saying they are all happy marriages, but yes, you can minimize. It's a technology, depends upon how you use it. Muhurta for medicine preparations, for changing, detoxification, selections of name, karmic blessings, helping them to get over unhealthy habits and addictions. And that is a lingo. Jyotish is a lingo where you can use the 12 zodiac signs, you can use the 9 planets, you can understand the 27 constellations, and the bhavas in the areas of your life. It's just a very, very simple way of looking at it and guiding. Like every birthday, there's a tradition. You go to an astrologer, you get your chart read, and you get a feeling where they are in the sky right now. They keep on moving, is that right? They are in gochar, in the transits as we call them. And in the transit, they have a different impact that is affecting every person. And especially you look at it, you understand what your rising sign is, what your moon sign is, what your sun. Sun is all about health, self-esteem, confidence, leadership. If your sun is powerful, you can see that strongly in your chart. If your Mars is powerful, that makes the person very intense, stubborn, a bit obstinate, dynamic, no doubt. Moon can also create psycho-emotional nature, sattva, mind, more nurturing qualities of moon. Moon changes very easily, so it can also create changes much easily. Saturn is about obstacles, difficulty. Shani is the slowest moving planet. Depression, anxiety, failures. Mercury is all about intelligence, but also duality, indecisiveness. Venus, about love or lack of love. It's the significator for love life. Quest, desire, luxury. Jupiter about abundance, knowledge, all of that. Means you can look at this, but depends upon how you look at the chart and guide them is so important. I look at anybody's personal astrology chart to create a degree of self-awareness. That self-awareness should help you understand and do what we call it as self-analysis with self-empowerment. And then you're ready to manage those. You need to correct those. You need to understand. And you give them different tools in order to help them understand. You create mindfulness, consciousness-based. It's like lighting a lamp at the door, which illuminates your life inside as well as outside. This is opening up your whole life on a spectrum scale. And then you make the decision with dispassionate vigilance. You don't get too attached to it. You create a little bit distance. Is that right? I often tell my patients that you can always blame it on the doshas. It's not me, my dosha is doing that. Is that right? My vata is behaving this way. It's not me, my planets are doing like this. Or my lagna, or my Saturn, or something like this. At least you create a distance between that to create your reflection and understand that. And then at the end of the day, it does boil down to what can you do for yourself. It was an old school psychology that we used to blame. Who did what to you? Is that right? Was it your parents? Was it your neighbors, your cousins? Who did what? But now, it's all about what can you do for yourself. Positive psychology. So, personal care, understanding Shreyas prayers, trying to maintain a dynamic balance, learning your profession that you enjoy, you like, you cultivate better relationship. And I hope everyone can answer that you are feeling this way. Because the wheel of life is trying to maintain all the different things that you have to do properly. You have to sleep, physical fitness, relationship, spiritual experiences on a daily basis, doing professions that you love and you make a difference in one's life. You eat clean, good, healthy, sattvic food. You're emotionally resilient, calm and centered, and you're engaging in pleasant, fun-filled activity. You're never crossed but smiling most of the time. All of this should make you really swastha. And that swastha, you should see that these are the bar that we have raised. You have to be happy, flexible, patient, confident, self-esteem, optimistic, purposeful, and spiritual. Because at the end of the day, what your desire is, deep driving desire is exactly what your destiny is going to become. Namaste. Thank you.